those toll booth structures to provide proper and decent washrooms.
Roads Minister departs from earlier comments that government intends to convert abandoned toll booths into washrooms, explaining it's only a plan.
The ministry has plans and government has plans. We are thinking of a lot of ways to put the toll booths.
We'll hear from him and take you to Parliament. Also, 232 deaths and 1,237 injuries from road crashes in January alone. We have the latest data from the police MTTD for our Drive Safe campaign. Also in this package, soothsayers who declared a 70-year-old man a wizard pursues him to the hospital, demanding his release in order to finish the crude ritual.
Soothsayer's husband went there with two bruises. Get the patient out of the hospital. According to him, he will go and rescue his children from witchcraft.
We have details as family of the 70-year-old man allegedly received threats of similar vicious attacks. Coming up later in business, African Union-backed panel urges Moody's to review an appeal by government against the downgrade of Ghana's credit ratings. Meanwhile, Ghana is beginning to feel the impact as yields on bonds traded on the international markets shoot up. This is Joy News Prime. We're live on DSTV, channel 421, Go TV. It's 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. I'm Ernest Mino. Stay tuned in for details. Hello again, thanks for choosing us. Now, the police MTTD has confirmed 232 lives perished through road crashes in January alone. Now, though a total of 972 vehicles were involved in these accidents, 1,237 injuries were recorded. There have been 461 motorcycle-related crashes and 93 lives have been lost through the incident, as well as 362 injuries recorded. The Ashanti region is leading again this year in the crashes. So far, 44 people have been killed and 308 injuries recorded there. Now, this is followed by the Greater Accra region with 31 deaths and 186 injuries. In the Northeast region, however, no deaths were recorded at the end of January. However, 9 injuries have been recorded over there. Let's go on to the phone lines now and speak to Pearl Edusu JC, who is the PRO of the National Road Safety Authority. We're also joined by Dr. Solomon Sasu-Mensah, who is the boss at the MTTD. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us here on Joy News Prime. Let me start with you, Dr. Sasu-Mensah. So interesting details there from January's data alone. Tell us what peculiar things you recorded with this month's data, January's data.
Good evening. My name is Superintendent of Police Dr. Samuel Sasu-Mensah.
Superintendent, well acknowledged. Thank you very much.
So basically what we have on board is that in terms of injuries, this year we recorded 1,237 as against last year, which was 1,393.
Okay.
So basically when you look at it, you find out that there was a reduction of about 11.20%. Then when you come to the mortalities, this month recorded 232. Okay. But at the same period last year, this month, we had 244. So when you compare the two figures, what you find out is that this year it decreased. It again decreased for about 4.92%. So in terms of deaths, in terms of injury, you compare to the same time last year, you find out that there have been some improvement and there have been some gains.
Good to know that we're seeing some improvements, but I also noticed that there's something peculiar happening in the Northeast region. No deaths recorded, even though we have 9 injuries. Tell us what is happening there.
Which specific region are you?
This is the Northeast region. The Northeast region. The data we have suggests that no deaths were recorded, even though 9 persons sustained injuries. And it will be interesting for you to tell us what exactly is happening there. Is it that's the...
Basically, that is what the speakers have said, and the statistic is speaking to. It is that there were no deaths as a result of... But there were some road traffic accidents that were recorded.
Yes.
But it wasn't the extent to the fact that people died on the road accident that were recorded. Just that there were some injuries.
Would it be safe to say that adherence to road traffic regulations is quite on the high in that area, necessarily?
It's basically attributable to a whole lot of factors. And the factors are some of the vehicle population in that region is quite very, very low. But in spite of that, we should commend them. We should commend the drivers for driving, adhering to road traffic rules and road traffic regulations. So probably that is why the death rate decreased at a decreasing rate, at an increasing rate. Very
well. Superintendent, kindly hold the line briefly for me. We have on the other line the PRO of the National Road Safety Authority, Madam Pearl Edusu-Jesse. Madam, thank you for joining us on Joy News Prime. Your reaction to the latest figures? We're seeing a decline in the figures as compared to last year, January this year and January 2021. But the numbers are still quite high. How do you react to this?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Good evening to all your listeners and viewers, and good evening to Superintendent Dr. Samuel Sasumensa and yourself. We also have this information this afternoon, and we are quite happy as long as we are seeing some reduction in the figures and the death toll and the injuries and even the petition can all reduce slightly. This is what we at our end want to hear every time the statistics come out. Although looking at it, it's still in the average rate. You could see that monthly the death toll is around the 200. We wish that it further goes down. Crashes may happen, but what we will be happy about and be excited about is to hear no injury and no death. That will be our excitement and the reward for the hard work we've been doing over the years. And so we are quite happy the figures as long as I've seen a reduction, but we still want it to go down further so that it will indicate what we are doing, because for some years back, our road safety awareness creation has increased, and so it's to commensurate with the figures that come, and so we are quite happy. But
what then is your plan to sustain this decline and make sure that we improve the statistics?
This is where we put in more effort, more campaign drives, and then collaborate with police to strengthen enforcement. Because when enforcement goes with education or campaign, it produces good results. And so we'll strengthen the enforcement base. And then the mandate as an authority will also come to play. We will advocate for all related institutions who are into road safety management to be very responsible and do their work well, so that we will further see more reduction. We wish one day in the near future the reduction will be very significant to reward for all that we have been doing over the years.
Madam, thank you very much for your time. Superintendent Sasu Mensah, your very final take. You had the PRO of the National Road Safety Authority talk about enforcement of the law. What can we expect from you this year as far as road safety is concerned?
Basically, we are going to increase the visibility of traffic and law enforcement officers on our routes. And what we are going to do is that we are going to combine we are going to automate traffic law enforcement this year.
Okay.
And we think that when you are able to do this, that will do the trick. And in the times to come, traffic accidents will be downside.
I'm grateful that you could join us. That's the boss of the MTTD, Superintendent Dr. Sasu Mensah. Still on our roads, a driver's mate has been confirmed dead after an articulated truck loaded with bags of rice ran into another truck loaded with cement on the Kumasi Accra Road. Wahid Tahiru, 25, died on the spot. The driver of the rice-loaded truck, identified as Musa Martin, is in critical condition and received treatment at the Ejisu Government Hospital. My colleague Ohimin Teria, who was at the scene, reports the accident brought unbearable impact on the traveling public as the Kumasi Ejisu and Ejisu Fumesia stretch has been blocked to traffic for several hours.
The impact of the crash was so heavy, the trailer head was completely shattered and the engine was forced to dislodge from the vehicle with registration GR 2550E. The articulated truck, carrying several bags of rice from the Accra-Kumasi direction, crashed into the rear of the one loaded with cement ahead of him. The driver's mate of the truck, loaded with rice, identified as Wahid Tahiru, age 25, died on the spot. The Ejisu Kumasi stretch was blocked to traffic for several hours as personnel from the Ejisu Divisional Police Motor, Traffic and Transport Department worked tirelessly to ensure flow of traffic. ASP Francis Mreku is the Ejisu MTTD commander.
The accident occurred at exactly 5 a.m. involving two vehicles moving towards Kumasi direction. Articulated truck loaded with rice and then another articulated truck loaded with cement. But the cement truck was in front. So when they go to this very stretch, the cement truck wanted to negotiate to the other side to offload some of the cement. Per the information I have, the driver mate came down to stop oncoming vehicles, not knowing there was another truck which was carrying the rice, speeding. And then all of a sudden, hit the rear portion of the cement truck. The driver to the rice vehicle got injured and is currently at Ejisu Government Hospital. The driver mate died at the spot.
Some members of the traveling public were not spared as they bore the brunt as they are forced to trek several miles due to heavy vehicular traffic. This man here, Augustine Boache, was left frustrated. Preliminary police investigations revealed the driver of the truck was speeding at a spot police say is accident prone.
This road is asphalted and at the same time a highway. So normally the drivers take advantage of that and overspeed. So somewhere last year I wrote to the highway authority to construct a ramble hump here to slow the drivers to the desired speed. But as I speak, I've not seen anything. And you know, this place too is accident-prone zone. So I think that's the only thing which can help to slow the drivers to the desired speed. Immediately the accident occurred, I deployed my men at all the intersections. As you can see, they are still directing traffic. I also called for towing car from Oforikrum. Unfortunately, when it was coming, it got spoiled on the way. So I had to call another towing truck from Swami. So it has towed the car away and there is free traffic. Still, the personnel will be here directing traffic to ensure that there is a free flow of traffic before they leave the scene.
For Joy News, Ohimin Teria.
Now, the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakwata, has backtracked from his widely condemned announcement of converting the toll booths into urinals. Ranking member of the Roads and Transport Committee, Gavins Kwame Abuja, during the presentation of the report of a committee on a commercial contract agreement between the Government of Ghana and the Janssen Adraso Consortium of Netherlands for an amount of 200 million euros for the construction of a bridge over the Ephraim River at Adraso Echi, Amanfrom, disclosed about 4 million cedis of the amount has been earmarked for the construction of toll booths. Now, the Adaklu MP questioned why the minister will, on one hand, seek for the conversion of existing toll booths into urinals and also asked for the approval to borrow money to construct new ones. The minister interjected, calling the Adaklu MP ignorant.
This minister is about to borrow an amount of 558,000 Ghana cedi euros, close to 4 million Ghana cedi, to build a new toll booth. You are converting existing toll booths to toilet, yet you are borrowing 4 million Ghana cedi to build a new toll booth. In this document, is here. Minister, if you haven't read it, this is where it is. Read the page. Read your own document. And Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't allow ministers to think that when they come here, we give them approval, they can go and do whatever they like. He is very ignorant about what he's talking about, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he is quoting from graphic or daily reportage. It was an interview. It's just a small portion that has been turned out. You haven't had the opportunity to listen to the whole interview. Mr. Speaker, I was speaking to the press and they wanted to know the future of all the toll booths. And among others, I said the ministry has plans and government has plans. We are thinking of a lot of ways to put the toll booths. And among them, I said that even the current toll booths, we have about 38 of them at various vantage points in the country. And as part of it, we are even going to improve the sanitary situation at all these places. For instance, and I said among other things that for instance, on the highway, and we all see it all the time, vehicles stop indiscriminately, and drivers, passengers get down, and we see people urinating everywhere indiscriminately. It's so indecent. So if among other things, we use this period to improve the sanitary situation at this toll booths, we would even allow drivers to stop in case passengers want to use that facility, among other things. So it wasn't a statement that I made, it wasn't a report, it was an interview, but that portion was paid, and you do not have access, and you are not privy to the entire interview. And as a member of parliament, why do you ranking member this alone? Let me put ignorance. Honorable Minister, please. Mr. Speaker.
It shall be out of order to use offensive, abusive, insulting, blasphemous, or unbecoming words, or to impugn improper motives to any other member, or to make personal allusions. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, he may disagree with the colleague in whatever form, but to describe what he's saying as ignorant, and he's speaking out of ignorance, it is improper in our standing orders.
If I use the word ignorance, that word is not an insult. And somebody is ignorant, and all of us can be ignorant of the facts of an issue. So I was trying to draw my colleague's attention that he is ignorant of the facts of the issue. He was not privy to it, of what I said. So it's not directly at my colleague, it's not insulting, it's not abuse. I was referring to the fact that he was talking about a subject that he didn't have all the full facts. He was ignorant of what happened and what took place. And Mr. Speaker, that was what I was referring to, and it wasn't an insult, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
So that's what transpired on the floor of Parliament. Let's now listen to what exactly the Roads Minister, Kwesi Amoakwata, said in that interview.
We have the safety departments. So I have director of safety, in our all the agencies. So safety issues are key, and Ghana National Road Safety Authority, we work with them hand in hand, and we will know it. If you listen to the news reportage, they even indicated that from their interaction with us, they realized that we ourselves had even taken that step already. We know it, So at the appropriate time, we are going to take them out, and we have, alternative use for all the 38 or so toll booth centers across the country, because we have plans for all those who were working in the toll booths. Okay, we are going to continue to work with them, and we have come out with a lot of suggestions. We even want to refurbish all those toll booth structures to provide proper and decent washrooms, for instance, for the use by motorists.
This is Johnny Prime. Now, supporters of the LGBTQ plus bill in Parliament are describing as baseless a projection by the CDD Ghana of a grimmer outlook for Ghana's economy should the bill be passed by Parliament. The controversial Proper Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, which is seeking to criminalize the activities of homosexuals and ban any form of advocacy on it, has been greeted by rigorous debates with public opinion split. Now, Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee suspended consideration of the memoranda in 2021. But even before the committee resumes its public hearing, a study conducted by CDD Ghana has found that passage of the bill could lose the country up to 6% of its annual budget funding. Here's lead presenter of the study, Bernard Anaba.
Ghana is a signatory to a number of United Nations human rights conventions. And we know that a lot of our external or UN-based partners are against the passage of this bill. And if we are going against the UN order of human rights, of which significant provisions of this bill contradicts, even in our constitution, then it is going to bring about diplomatic tension in terms of between the officials of Ghana and the UN officials. And that will have a cost on Ghana, because our leaders always have to engage with external partners, whether in economic or in political reasons, and that will have an indirect cost. For instance, if they decide not to honor the aid or grants that they usually support through our budget, or delay such grants just because they think our environment of human rights is not conducive, then that will be an impact on us. In terms of the direct cost, this is going to affect individuals directly. It is going to affect the institutions that will have to administer this law. We know SHRAJ is a key institution. We know the judiciary will need people well versed in this bill if it passes into law. Then we know the police will have to have the expertise to be able to deal with persons. And we know communities will have to be vigilantes. So this direct involvement of all the stakeholders will portend some cost at their own levels or even at the levels of the state. And persons who will be either jailed or imprisoned as a result of being labeled as gay persons or contravenes the bill, they will suffer the cost both socially or economically. If you're in prison, then you may have to lose your job. even in terms of stigmatization.
But the supporters of the bill strongly disagree. Adam Senanu is convener of Advocates for Christ, and he says this is baseless.
How it was spent and how it has contributed to our GDP is something that ought to be answered at some point. At the moment, I don't understand anybody telling me that you're going to have to depend on these external funds. I think that is where we lost the plot. We need leadership that ensures that we build ourselves up. If there's any country in this continent that ought to be doing better economically, in terms of our development, that ought to actually be shoring up reserves, I think Ghana has that potential.
What I'm hearing you say is that this projection by CDD is baseless.
Yeah, I'm not moved by it. I'm not convinced by it, and it's the opposite of what we said when we said Ghana beyond 8. So were we joking or were we serious? Okay. I mean, it totally, as it were, suggests that there's a complete lack of confidence in the president's agenda when we talk about Ghana beyond 8. Is it that it was never reachable? Is it that we are so tied to the shoestrings of our benefactors, our Western benefactors, that we think that we can never get out of that? Should we continue to perpetuate that, sustain it? Is that the kind of narrative we should be having, or should we be changing the narrative?
Let's do some other stories now. They accused him of wizardry, beat him to pulp, and compelled him to confess. The 70-year-old man who was almost killed is battling for his life at the Damango Catholic Hospital. But his accusers are not satisfied. They pursued him to the hospital and demanded his release in order to finish the crude ritual. Grandson of the 70-year-old Isahaku Muhammadu has been speaking to journeys.
Saturday, around 8 in the morning, around 8 a.m. in the morning, my grandfather, he went to take corona injection, and a messenger came to his house and came and asked about him, and they said that he went, and the wife told the messenger that the husband has left. He went to inject corona. So when he came back, the wife told him that someone, Zina, sent a messenger here looking for him. Oh yes, it's true. Yesterday around 9 p.m., it's like 9:30 p.m., they went there. I mean, the soothsayer's husband, he went there with two crews, with two guys. So, and he was trying to, get the patients out of the hospital so that, according to him, he will go and rescue his children from witchcraft. So he tried, but he couldn't, succeed. His reason was that his children told him that some weeks ago, our grandfather gave jollof rice to them. There were two children. That he gave jollof rice to them, and they ate. So when they ate the jollof rice, now anytime they sleep in the night, the two children, one will turn to a lion, and one will also turn to a snake. Sometimes one will turn to a horse.
Have you reported this to the police?
Yes, we reported it to the police. For now, the police hasn't done anything yet, because this afternoon, one of the policemen called us and told us that they are waiting for the police form so that they will see as to how they would do. And now, currently, as I'm speaking, I'm in the police station. We have been discharged, and we brought the police form. And what they told us is early dawn, they will see what they will go into.
So is your grandfather still at the hospital, or he's been discharged?
Yes, because how the situation is, we don't want to bring him out so that people will see him and still, be chasing after him. So we pleaded with the doctor that we want our patient to still be on the bed, and we come and present the police form to them. So this is what we told the doctors, and they've given us, chance, and we came and present the form.
Okay. And we're learning now that the family of the 70-year-old, especially the caretakers, are being threatened by the soothsayer and his followers. Let's go to Zoom now and speak to human rights lawyer and member of parliament for Madina, Francis Xavier Sosu. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on Join News Prime. You sponsored a bill to deal with these issues of witchcraft. We'll come to that shortly, but first, your reaction to this latest incident.
Thank you very much. I think that this is a very worrying incident, particularly in this day and age. We shouldn't be seeing this in our democracy. So it's an act that must be condemned with all the force that you can ever marshal. And I think that the police will have to do the needful to make sure that this witch doctor is arrested and brought to book. Clearly, what he's done under the existing legislation amount to criminal assault. And so I think that there is a basis for the witch doctor to be arrested and prosecuted under our laws whilst we wait to continue to advocate for the criminalization of witchcraft accusations.
So that brings us to the bill which you're sponsoring. Where are we with that?
Well, just today in Parliament, the stakeholders of the bill had our first preparatory meeting because between the 4th and the 7th of March, we would be visiting the various communities that have the prevalence of this witchcraft accusation. And so, and our goal is to understand the situation from the community's perspective so that it can perfect the bill that is currently being drafted. I can say on authority that we have a draft bill, except that before we finalize it and have it tabled before Parliament, we want to be sure that we visit the various stakeholders so that we can do a very good job. We don't want to be armchair anthropologists. We want to be participant observants so we can understand the situation well to shaping a bill that can be that can stand the test of time. So that is where we are now.
And it's interesting that you mentioned consultation with the stakeholders, because even before you moved there, some of them, especially in the Northeast region, have disagreed with your approach. I want you to listen to this assembly member who spoke to our correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko, and I'll get your reaction to that.
Show them that, look, I'm not saying it's a failure, but the thing will not work. Don't we have laws in Ghana? You don't have to brutalize someone. You don't have to banish someone. Is it lawful? Why can't they use that law to even deal with it? Now you are going to pass another new bill, which is fine, but I am telling you that that is not what we want. What we want, I was even thinking, is that they should come down and let's have bylaws in the assemblies that these things are happening. For instance, Eastman Prussia Municipality, which assembly I am, if they come there and we do bylaws, and the bylaws should be very convincing, together with the assembly members and the chiefs. Let's reason together and come out with a bylaw that will protect our own. That is what I want. Because I have seen that even if you sit in Accra and you do the bill, that anybody who accuses a witch will be arrested, prosecuted, and imprisoned. Look, they won't accuse any witch. You always convey cops.
Honorable, you've heard him there. He also goes on to talk about lack of consultation, which you say you are going to address. But how do you respond to this, reaction?
Well, to a very large extent, I think that he's right, except that he's right within some context, within a very limited view of the bill that we are promoting. The truth is that it is part of the reasons why we are working on this consultation. In fact, I never knew that there was any interview like that, but as part of the process of passing a law, there is always a need to have critical stakeholders make input. And so I think when you look at the latter part of what he said, particularly with respect to coming to assembly and joining assembly to pass a bylaw, that would be limited to every assembly. But our consultation is to pass a piece of legislation that will cover the entire country. Don't forget that accusation of witchcraft is not limited to only these communities. There are modern day prophets and pastors and self-styled men of God who also accuse people of witchcraft and subject them to all kinds of dehumanizing and inhuman treatment. So our focus is broader than what he's saying. But I think that the bit that I agree has to do with the need for the consultation. And like I told you today in Parliament, myself and two other proponents of the bill, we have Dr. Gisal and Honorable Ayamga. We had a meeting with other stakeholders as part of preparation so that we can embark on a nationwide tour, but we're starting from communities where we have the prevalence of the accusation, which is in the northern part, yes.
Very well. Thank you very much. That's Francis Xavier Sosu. He's Member of Parliament for Medina. Still to come here on Joining Is Prime in business, the African Union back panel urges Moody's to review an appeal by government against the downgrade of its credit ratings. Meanwhile, Ghana is beginning to feel the impact as yields on bonds traded on the international market shoot up. Charles Aite standing by with details of these and more. Stay with us.
It's time for business. I'm Charles Aite. The African Union back panel has urged ratings agency Moody's to review an appeal by government against the downgrade of Ghana's credit rating. Moody's last Friday revealed the country's long-term debt to a junk status. In reaction, the Finance Ministry has criticized Moody's decision to lower its rating further and said the company used incomplete data. A statement on the website of the African Peer Review Mechanism said, quote, taking such a major rating decision that threatens debt sustainability of the country should be treated with seriousness, unquote. And of course, the downgrade of Ghana's credit ratings by Moody's has already started having a negative impact on the Ghanaian economy. The yields on the country's bonds traded on the international market have started shooting up. George Rafi has more.
The development can be linked to the recent warnings by Moody's that Ghana could struggle to pay its debt back on time. This is due to what the agency describes as increasing liquidity and debt challenges. The concerns have already resulted in some bond sell-offs, whilst others are pushing for higher interest on bonds that they are currently holding. This will immediately lead to Ghana's interest payments going up. It will also result in some pressures on the Ghana cedi as some of these investors sell off their bonds, which will result in pickup in demand for dollars locally. This will also exacerbate the current pressures on the local currency, that is the cedi. Situation, if not well managed, or if it drags for a long time, could hit badly at our dollar reserves locally. For some, it is clear that the impact of these downgrades by Moody's and Fitch is not only long-term, but it comes with some immediate shocks to the economy. According to the 2022 budget, government is planning to set aside some 37.5 billion Ghana cedis as interest payments. But with this development, this expenditure item is expected to go up, and that could lead in some cuts in capital projects or it being sacrificed.
The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, has rejected a marker project sponsored with oil revenue through the annual budget funding amount. The project, located in Pokrom in the Kwapem South District, has been poorly executed according to PIAC. We have more in this report.
Rural Market Project with storage and mechanized borehole received more than 581,000 cedis from the 2020 annual budget funding amount. According to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, the facility, which has been reported as fully completed by Mass Premium Limited, is below expectation and needs to be worked on again. Member of the committee, Alhaji Ahmed Anderson, who led a delegation to the project site, described the work as unacceptable.
This is way below our expectation. Works here have not been built to a standard that we can say it is value for money. You could see the floor that we visited, cracks all over. And when you have such a situation, even before the works are handed over in this under the condition that we find it today, it's unacceptable, and it doesn't augur well for proper development. Look at this structure, a number of places where they should have at least have some spouts or some ceiling to prevent water from coming down. Nothing like that was done. And the report we have heard coupled with what we are seeing ourselves, indicate that once it rains, the whole place will become unusable. You cannot use it for anything else at all. And
efforts by Joy Business to speak with officials of the Assembly was unsuccessful, as Municipal Planning Officer of the Assembly declined to comment on the issue. Assembly member of the Pokrum in Saban area, Amedi Ashiren, is calling on government to intervene in getting the contractors back to complete the work.
Contractor no kwan ofa so mo ye adwuma no ni ade no kware nyame anim ye hwe bibiri wo ha nde so market naba e be boa yen ha no adwuma ye ku adwuma.
Most of our people are into farming, so the markets here will be very useful to us. But as it is now, it has not been well done. All that we are saying is that government should speak to the contractor so that he can come back and complete the work for us. This will help us in our daily activities.
So we say ma hwe se no kon of us ye silly no na fe ground no ne ade na papai eni ahoden.
Meanwhile, the entire contract cost is about 924,000 cedis, as reported by the Ministry of Finance.
And we have more business stories at 8 to stay with us.
And it's now time for Showbiz. Becky is here. She has the very latest. Hello, Becky.
Hey. Hi, Ernest. How are you?
We can see through the mask. I know you just want to laugh.
About the PP? Hash PP?
Just say it as you want it. It's fine.
Yeah, I know.
Because I just didn't catch it on the prompter.
It's actually Hash Puppy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We wish him all the best, though. But
you know him?
Yeah, everyone does. Well, in the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Which is why I need you to be taking me through some of this.
Well, let's not.
All right, my bad. But what do you have for us?
Let's talk about Ebony. It's been 4 years since she passed, and the entertainment world has been celebrating her the whole of today, remembering her. On Showbiz now, this afternoon, this morning earlier, with KMG, Kevin Boy said that Ebony is a legend and she actually died too early. Her is.
It's very sad, and especially for someone like that. I think she started a path that a lot of like young arts were like following. Yeah, you can point a lot of arts that you can boldly say, oh, the style is like Ebony style. So I feel like she started something. And I think it was too early for her to leave us. All the time we're still here, we give thanks still.
We give thanks still, and that's the most important thing. I mean, at the end of the day, people still respect what she did, people still love what she did, and you guys are still.
She's a legend, actually. She's a legend.
You think she is?
She made a lot.
Some people argued and said, "Oh, I mean, really."
She was around for a very long, a very short time,
and all that. So
that's why I said that she started something. She created a path, and she will always be remembered for that. You get me? That bad girl thing, that even the name, even her name, it's like a path, on its own. So that's what I think, though.
Okay.
Definitely.
Meanwhile, several showbiz personalities took to social media on Tuesday to celebrate the memory of late songstress Ebony Rains. Ebony died in a road accident together with her best friends Francisca Curry, known as Frankie, and Francis Achik-Vonde, a soldier, on February 8, 2018, Tuesday, February 8, 2022 marks exactly 4 years since they died. Ebony's former manager, Ricky Nana Ajiman, also known as Bullets, was among persons who shared posts to remember the late songstress. Ebony, until her death, was a rising star. She rocked the music scenes with songs such as Sponsor, Date Your Father, Mami She, and Poison, among others.
Which was your favorite?
She had she had turn on the light. I love that.
I don't know that, but I think I like Mamisha because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Talking about, you know, domestic abuse and all of that. Yeah. May her soul rest in peace.
May her soul rest in peace. But Sarkodie has been commenting on, well, finally, it's like everybody's waiting for Sarkodie to comment on the e-levy.
The e-levy, yes.
Maybe if you have that, can you pull it out, Ernest?
Okay, so this was Sarkodie put up. It says, I pay a lot of taxes outside and I don't complain because I'm using avenues they made available to me. Put the $ there. It's only right. It's not same here, and that's why we complain, not because the e-levy is bad. When you broke, a harmless good morning can sound like a tease.
So essentially, people pay tax here in the country. They don't get
the results,
and so they are angry about paying another, you know, tax. So they won't pay. And Sarkodie didn't really say anything. He's not like he's for the
he's for or against it.
Or against it, but well, that's Sarkodie.
That's a politically correct, you know, response or reaction to give.
He's always
on point.
But and as Ghanaian filmmaker Leila Jansi has been named one of the mentors for a Netflix and UNESCO project, and she said that she's very excited about this project.
She definitely must be.
I am absolutely thrilled about these opportunities that are opening up in Africa and for African filmmakers right now. Amazon Prime is here making big moves, signing deals with African filmmakers. And then now you have Netflix doing this short film project, which is going to release an anthology series on Netflix in September, and giving filmmakers $75,000. That is a lot of money to make a short film with, and a great launch pad on a giant streamer like Netflix. So I'm very excited that all of these major distributors are seeing Africa as not a place to exploit. It's not a dark continent to exploit dark stories. There's a potential for real stories about real people, about regular people, about our folk tales. So I am pretty happy with this trend. There were 2,000 films submitted, and there was an outside team that sorted through the 2,000 submissions, and the 20 that were shortlisted, that's what the 6 judges and mentors are going to meet with those filmmakers, listen to their pitches, and then select 6 winners from there, and then mentor those winners into getting their films made and distributed on the platform.
Leila,
congratulations to her. She's made us proud. Thank you very much, Becky, for bringing us Showbiz. We have more. Be careful. We have more stories for you after this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Ranking member on the Health Committee, Kwabena Minta-Kando, is alleging that the financial support received by government in the fight against COVID-19 does not match the expenses captured in the 2021 budget. His comment follows revelations by the World Bank Country Director, Pierre Laporte, to the effect that the Bretton Woods institution assisted government with some $430 million for COVID sensitization and an additional $130 million on the procurement of vaccines, according to the Jobosu MP. Even though the $130 million has been accounted for in the budget, there's an outstanding $430 million that has not been accounted for. Speaking to the media, the ranking member on the Health Committee impressed upon Parliament to constitute a bipartisan committee to probe the expenditure.
We on the minority side have filed a private member motion to constitute a bipartisan probe into the entire receipt and expenditure of COVID-19. We think it has never been transparent. There's one thing indicating what you have received and properly accounting for what you have received. And we think that there hasn't been proper accountability with regards to COVID-19. There are a lot of issues, and the remarks by the country director is just one out of the many. that we have received not less than $560 million US. We have come through the 2021 budget and the 2022 budget. If what the director said is anything to go by, then we have a serious problem at hand, because the money received so far doesn't tally with what has been indicated by the country director. So we think that there should be a bipartisan probe to investigate the entire expenditure, so that we'll bring this issue to its logical conclusion. Because you have heard issues about spending about 32 million Ghana cedis on meetings. We have seen issues about spending 600 million Ghana cedis on Agenda 111 in 2020, before even the grounds were broken for the constructions for the Agenda 111. So these are serious issues that I think that we must look into. As if that was not enough, he further indicated that that amount of money was given to Ghana to sensitize the people of Ghana on COVID-19, to educate the people of Ghana on COVID-19. Your guess is as good as mine. Some of you had to, give free slots to sensitize the people of this country without taking a dime from Ghana government. So what did they use the money for? This is just the tip of the iceberg. So I think that as far as COVID-19 expenditure and receipts are concerned, there's more to it than we are hearing.
Now, Chairman of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, James Klucha-Avedji, is upset over the Health Minister's continuous disregard for the committee. According to the chairman, the Health Minister has refused to appear before them in spite of the several invitations to him. Mr. Avedji says the conduct of the Health Minister will be tabled before the House for sanctions.
The committee is not happy about the attitude of the Minister for Health. Convey this to him, that the committee is not happy about his attitude. Since this committee started work, not this committee, the previous committee started work in 2017 to 2020, and this committee started from 2021 to this year. He appeared before this committee only once. He was the chairman, the former chairman of this committee. He was the one who had been inviting people, and when people don't come, he did not take it lightly. Now he himself is doing exactly what he was against. So we are going to report on that to the plenary. So Clark, take note that the Minister of Health doesn't respect this committee. You have a ministry who has a minister and 2 deputies, and none of them will appear before the committee. You have spent public money, come and account for it. Your name appeared in the report of the Auditor General, which means that there's something wrong. Come and tell us how you will resolve the issue. You don't respect the committee, they invite you, you do other things. It's not nice. So we are going to report on that to the plenary, for plenary to take decision. So convey this to him. We're not doing this job for fans. We have the backing of the Constitution. We have the backing of the standing orders of Parliament. We report our work to the House for the House to take decision. So please, we're not happy about that.
Mr. Avedji is also asking Interpol to issue a red alert for the arrest of a former teacher of the Panther Nursing and Midwifery School here in Accra. The said teacher, Madame Efia Nyakwa, is said to have been on a study leave whilst receiving salaries from the state. She failed to return after her education. Authorities who appeared before the committee explained that it's been difficult getting Efia Nyakwa to refund the monies to the state.
Now, she had received an earned salary of about 60,000 and she paid 10,000. Difference of now, she had received an earned salary of about 60,000 and she paid 10,000. Difference of it's left with, they say 59,000, which means that even what, yeah, getting to 70,000. So now, Madam, you have to contact the director of Interpol, provide the necessary information about her. I'm sure you know where she's living now, so that they can track her. What's the name of the lady?
Efia Nyakwa.
Efia Nyakwa. And who was a teacher? Was she a teacher?
Yes, please.
Who was a teacher at Nursing and Midwifery Training College, Pantan, who left and earned over close to 70,000 Ghana cedis salary that she knew that she wasn't entitled, yet she received the money. We are getting the director of Interpol to track her and get her so that government can retrieve the money.
Thank you.
If any relative of her is listening to her, to us, then they should make the effort and contact the school immediately and make the appropriate arrangement and pay the money. That is a directive of the committee.
A consulting surgeon in the UK and head of operations Hernia, UK Professor Chris Opong, has hinted that 5 fisher folks at Azim in the Western region have died from groin hernia in the year 2021 alone due to lack of money for surgery. The surgeon, speaking to the media during a training on how to operate on hernia patients using the mesh method for some 22 doctors from 9 facilities in the Western region, said the increasing rate of hernia in the country calls for urgent attention.
Professor Chris Opong says hernia mesh repair is now the standard method in the Western world for years. He explains that surgeons perform hernia mesh surgery by using surgical mesh made from thermoplastics or biologic materials to hold in protruding tissues or organs. The chance of the hernia coming back this method is less likely, hence the need to train medical doctors to acquaint themselves with the process.
Operation Hernia was set up in 2005 as a charity in the UK and as an NGO in Ghana, with the sole aim of helping to relieve the suffering that hernia patients have, and also to train local doctors in the newer, modern, more effective techniques of treating hernias. The prevalence of hernias in Ghana is quite massive. The Ghana Hernia Society has recognized this and have entered into a partnership with the Ghana Health Service to train all the doctors in the district hospitals and equip them with better hernia surgery skills to improve the rate of hernia repair in this country. And since 2005, we have been able to operate on well over 15,000 patients in this country, but we have not scraped the bottom of the barrel, I can assure you.
The program, sponsored by AGM Petroleum Ghana Limited, with support from the Ghana Health Service, will ensure free hernia surgery for people living with hernia in the Western region. Administration Manager of AGM Petroleum Ghana Limited, Christian Beatrice King, said to improve the lives of families affected by hernia, AGM Petroleum Ghana Limited has since 2019 supported Operation Hernia to undertake hernia surgeries and donated surgical equipment.
AGM GNPC partnership, and we're here because we really care about the communities in which we operate, and inguinal hernia is it's a problem here in the Western region because we have fisher folk as well as other men and women who suffer from hernia, and there are about 500 to 800,000, we've been told by Operation Hernia, people who have hernias in the Western region. And so we want to support this initiative so that they can get the healing that they need, the surgeries that they need, and they can go back into their communities healed.
The Western Regional Health Director, Dr. Yao Oforieboa, expressed gratitude to the team and their sponsors for taking the initiative to train the doctors.
We know the hernias are underreported, and even more importantly, the people who need the services do not get them. As a region, even though periodically we do manage cases here and there is no doubt that the vast majority of the people with hernias do not receive the needed treatment. And this is sad. And we know the consequences of not treating hernias, the socioeconomic, and for complications when they set in, the health implications are very serious. And there are so many reasons for the low capacity in the region. One of them is lack of adequate manpower. For the region, this has come at the right time because we don't want to leave anybody behind.
Over 200 patients in the Western region are expected to benefit from the initiative in 5 hospitals. For Joy News in Athalia, Kwanza, Western region.
Lawyers for the Assin North MP James Jajikwason say his attendance to urgent parliamentary business is the reason he failed to show up at the Supreme Court on Tuesday. This is the explanation they offered when the court sat to hear a case filed by the legislator. Now, in an earlier case filed by one Michael Nimfa, the court was told the MP allegedly instigated the assault of a bailiff who had been instructed to give the MP court documents. This is the latest in the series of related cases seeking to stop the MP from performing parliamentary duties. Court correspondent Joseph Akable reports.
2 separate cases involving the Assin North MP came up for discussion at the Supreme Court. The first one has to do with an application that is seeking to restrain the MP from performing parliamentary duties. Once again, the court was informed that they had not been able to serve him with court processes. The story this time around is that the bailiff who had gone over to the MP's office was thrown out of the office by a bodyguard on the instructions of the MP. This was the briefing that the registrar of the court gave to the Supreme Court. The second aspect of the case is the fact that efforts were still made at the residence of the MP, but that also proved unsuccessful. Richard Techimensa, who speaks for Michael Nimfa, who initiated this action against the MP right from the High Court, says the MP is simply evading the court processes.
Whatever happened in court, that's the tax that they've employed right from the Cape Coast High Court. That's the delay taxes. It's all about seeking to delay the case unduly.
The second case has to do with an application that was filed by the MP himself, and this is an application that he's seeking to have the Supreme Court refer some portions of the Constitution that has to do with at what point should the eligibility of a person in terms of filing to contest an MP, should those requirements be checked. And so that is a matter that is asking the Supreme Court for interpretation. But once again, the MP was not present in court. His lawyers were in court. Mr. Chikata explains that the MP was carrying out parliamentary duties and so was unable to show up. The court adjourned the matter to Thursday after Mr. Chikata had asked for time to respond to certain documents that have been filed by the lawyers on the other side. And so that matter returns on Thursday. Once again, Mr. Mensah holds the view that it is a delay tactic that is ongoing.
We are surprised that your own application, if indeed you have good case, you have put a good case before the Supreme Court, why are you refusing to move your own case, even when the case was adjourned to the 10th February, Thursday, for hearing? Chachikata had a problem with it, that it was on that day that the days within which he is supposed to file response expired, so he didn't understand why the case should be set for hearing on Thursday. If indeed you have a good case and you have put a good case before the judges, whenever you are called upon to move, you should be able to move it. But we have a precedence in this country where somewhere in 2012, the then MP for Baku Central, the late Honorable Adamu Sakande, a similar thing was put before court against him. Then he was stripped of his membership, MP membership. Then in the end, the criminal aspect, he got jailed. So we don't see this one to be a different one. We are just trying to enforce the rules and the laws of the land.
So the case is back in court on Thursday. For joining us on the Supreme Court, my name is Joseph Akable.
We go to Parliament now. The Adansiasukwa MP Katie Amond is asking the Assin North MP not to be swayed by the support from the caucus, insisting he will be the only one serving the jail term if he's incarcerated. Speaking to the media, he charged the embattled MP to submit himself to due process and fight to be exonerated. He also rejected claims that the prosecution against the MP is a move by government to reduce the numbers of the minority caucus ahead of the crucial debate and vote on the e-levy.
Because of our numbers, we have difficulties. But who in their right frame of mind would suggest that for that reason, a government of the day would want to arrest members of parliament? Well, we practice democracy in Ghana. If whatever his name is that you talk about is faced with the consequences you're talking about, he is hoisted by his own petard. On the 9th of the 7th, or what is 6th, the 9th or 7th or whatever, when this thing came about, the voting and all that, when this matter had come about because of the alleged citizenship, double Canadian, whatever that they talked about, I personally called the former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Aine, and spoke with him about it. I told Dominic to warn our brother from Assin whatever, that if what you are talking about is true, he should leave for God's sake, because the provisions of I think Article 105 of the Constitution pretty clear, crystal clear, beyond argument. Leave the place. If that wasn't bad enough, we had a president of our late brother Ademu Sekendi, who had gone through the same processes. In the end, he was disqualified, and it didn't end at that. He was prosecuted and incarcerated. I was afraid. My heart was bleeding for him. I sent Dominic to go and speak with him. Well, in the circumstances, when they were clear in their mind, they had numbers to elect Babin as their speaker, they were prepared to wheel whoever, irrespective of their qualification. Indeed, I venture to say that, listen, don't let this guy applaud you from high hell to whatever, because in the end, when you go into prison, they will even take you off, see you up to his home gate. You'll be going all alone. So who now comes out and has the brazen neck to suggest that the government ploy to reduce their numbers? That is why the action, whatever action is being taken against.
The matter is before court.
Those are different matters. Those are different matters. They're legal matters. I mean, we will deal with
the prosecution before the determination of the appeals court.
You got a point there, but that's not what we are dealing with. Let us all clarify the situation, find out where exactly we are with the legal processes with respect to this guy. But you see, I wouldn't cry about whatever happens to him, because we warned him from day one that he was playing with the big inflammable fire.
And so what will be your advice to him now?
Go where you've been able to.
Now, the Peasant Farmers Association, that's Katie Amond for you, very typical of him. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana last year warned of possible famine in Ghana in 2022. The warning followed the shortage of fertilizer, which made it difficult for farmers to produce enough food to meet the country's demand. As the new year opened door under the theme 20 years of developing agriculture from the ground up, stakeholders indicated the problem persists and called on government to address it before it escalates. Samuel Imbura's report.
Speaking to Joy News in an interview at the New Year Open Door Day launch under the theme 20 Years of Developing Agriculture from the Ground Up by the International Fertilizer Development Center, which was established in 2002 in Ghana to produce and promote local economic development by increasing food and agricultural productivity through effective and environmentally sound crop nutrient technologies and agribusiness expertise using the bottom-up approach, Regional Director for North and West Africa of IFDC, Dr. Umu Kamara, raised concerns about the global rise in demand for fertilizer.
Yes, fertilizer prices currently are at their highest around the world, not just Africa, but our farmers are most vulnerable. So the strategies for making sure farmers get the needed fertilizer on time at an affordable price.
But Fred Jassy, who is with Africa Fertilizer Organization, has reviewed the unavailability of a primary source of fertilizer in the country.
To produce fertilizers, that is the primary production of fertilizers, you need natural resources. To produce nitrogen fertilizer, you need gas to produce urea. And currently, I know that the government of Ghana is working on having a gas urea production plant in Ghana, but it's in the pipeline stages, so they don't have it set up yet.
Meanwhile, Fertilizer Research and Responsible Implementation has indicated that fertilizer usage in the country is on the rise and cautioned farmers to apply it responsibly.
At the moment, I would say fertilizer application in Ghana has increased. Some few years ago, we were around 16 kilograms per hectare per farmer, but at the moment we are getting closer to 30 kilograms per farmer due to the introduction of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. You know, fertilizer usage has gone up, and at the moment Ghana is around 20 to, let's say, 25 to 30 kilograms per hectare per capita.
For the agri sector to develop in the country, government will have to base its strategy on the development of public-private partnership as drivers of change by developing innovative approaches to improving the governance of agricultural value chain. For Joy News, Samuel Mbura, Accra.
This is Joy News Prime with me and Asmin. We're taking a break. When we're returning, we have more business stories for you and sports. Stay with us.
In business, only 30,000 farmers have purchased insurance products in Ghana. That's according to data from the Ghana Agricultural Insurance Pool. We have more in this report.
Insurance in this country have not been like the normal insurance where you have people who insure and they continue renewing. Most of some of the products, since we're dealing with smallholder farmers, and the crops are seasonal crops. Take maize, for instance. The man plants, harvests, and the contract ends. If it's planned for the next season, then it has to come again. And some people have this difficulty in doing that. So that's one of the causes of retainership and other things. But in all, we are hovering around 30,000 farmers, which is far below our expectation, to be honest with you. We are trying to see at least if Ghana is an agrarian economy, agri-insurance should be top notch, so that at least we should be able to get more farmers enrolled. So assuming in the population of Ghana, let's say 5 million of them are even farmers. And you talk about 20% of it is 1 million, at least you should be somewhere.
Can you throw more light on the efforts you are putting, what exactly you're doing?
When you're dealing with international institutions, they want to see where my remedies lie in terms of the law. But the Insurance Act 724, which has been repealed, and now we have Insurance Act of 2021, Act 1061. There was no problem for agricultural insurance. But now when it comes to the new Act 1061, Section 210, we talk of index-based agricultural insurance contracts. Then also, we are also trying to see the high interest rates we talk about. So we have Section 245 to Section 249, talk about establishment of agricultural insurance fund, which one of its prime objectives is to help to support farmers with the premiums they pay, so that at least it will motivate them to have affordable insurance products, so that will help us to build the resilience of or enhance the resilience of our value chain actors.
Now, government is urging stakeholders in the digital space to promote safer use of internet. This is in line with government's quest to ensure that the economy is developed through digital infrastructure. Here's more.
Second Tuesday of February every year is dedicated to celebrating safer internet across the globe to create awareness on the negative effects of using the internet and how to mitigate them. This year's celebration falls on 8th February 2022, and the Africa Safer Internet Day is on the theme Positioning and Partnering for Child Online Protection. And we are calling on all stakeholders to come together to discuss and promote the safe use of the internet and to make it a better place for all, especially for children and young people. It will be a tragedy to ignore the threats posed by the internet. The consequences will be so grave and expose our failures as guardians, parents, teachers, friends, educators, civil society, and as a government. I wish to therefore use this occasion to encourage all stakeholders to get involved. We must understand what goes on in that space, understand what our children do online, and engage authorities to address issues that arise as children study and socialize in this cyberspace.
Now, the DVLA has revealed that it will soon roll out a voice-over touchscreen test in 6 local dialects. The computer-based test, which will be conducted in Twi, Nzima, Ewe, Hausa, Ga, and Dagbani, is to enhance drivers' competency and, in effect, improve safety on the roads. We have more.
Recent years have seen enormous technological transformation in DVLA's business operations. An introduction of language-based computer tests is one of the many eminent technological and digitalization initiatives of the authority. Speaking at the opening of the Obuasi office of the DVLA, Chief Executive Officer Kwesi Ajiman noted that the authority is gradually tuning to digitalization to render efficient and sustainable services.
Changes in the authority. We have taken back control of our IT estate, and now we are going through a period of stabilization as we transform our business. On the driver's side of our mandate to improve road safety and thereby driver competency, we will implement the upgrade of computer-based tests in the next few months. A voice-over touchscreen, which will include 6 vernacular languages.
The Obuasi office of the DVLA started off with only 2 offices. However, it can now boast of several ultra-modern offices to efficiently serve its customers. The newly commissioned edifice houses premium, registration, biodata capturing, and custom offices. According to District Manager of Obuasi DVLA office, Edwin Ofori, his office accrued an increased revenue of 11.3% in 2021.
Under my leadership when I took over in June 2019, revenue target was increased in Obuasi office here. In 2020, revenue was also increased by 7.13%.
With prevalent cases of road carnages, Transport Minister Kweku Ofori Esiama assured that government is not relenting its efforts to curtail ravaging road accidents in the country.
Government will not relent on its effort to stop the carnage on our road. As part of the ongoing interventions, we have commenced a process to review the Road Traffic Act 2004 at 683 and the Road Traffic Regulation 2012 LI 2180 to keep up with the changing trends in the road transport industry and also address some implementation lapses.
From Obuasi for Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
75 residents in the Western region have benefited from the SOS Green Cash Work Initiative. The initiative empowers the young people with technical skills in addition to a daily minimum wage of 12 cedis to help create their businesses in a green manner. We have more in this report.
SOS Green Ghana will provide employability for beneficiaries to create a green economy for over 4,000 youths in the 10 MMDs of the Western and Ashanti regions. The interventions by the organization and the municipality forms the basis of the development of a green training manual. The beneficiaries were trained on identifying green opportunities in their communities and how to be entrepreneurs in the green sector. Shaibu Fuseni is project coordinator SOS Green Ghana.
Our goal or our main aim is to empower 4,000 cash for work beneficiaries such that they are able to secure green employment or start a green business. The concept around cash for work beneficiaries is modeled around they working for some amount of cash or the daily minimum wage of 12 cedis. So a project, a climate infrastructure is identified in the district, and as part of it, they are also giving some form of training, soft skills, as well as employable and entrepreneurial skills, such that they can start a business in their local green economy.
Partners of the SOS Green Project, United Nations Capital Development Fund, educated beneficiaries on financial literacy during the training. Berinja Jantwa, Community Development Officer, UNCDF, noted the training will help participants escape poverty by building savings, growing assets, and creating wealth.
And we are expected to build more capacity. One thing that we did was building and training the capacity, financial literacy of these people. And now we opened accounts for them. We've given them a education on their financials as they are workers already.
Beneficiaries who graduated from the SOS Green Cash for Work project shared their experience after the 3 months training.
Because I highlight,
I'm planning to buy a fridge to start my sobolo business.
Ice cream. Because
Eco Bank. They've opened a bank account for us. Okay,
we join training. No, I didn't mention for one. See, I'm not. Me hun say me could man na me yeno. Sika na me yen first no na.
I have learned how to manage my finances.
But see, I'm not say first no. Can na me yes kabete almost 20 million, 30 million now. Be a met my use within a beer 2-3 months, 4 months, and then
The project was funded by the European Union in partnership with the United Nations Capital Development Fund. Anita Sewajuga's report, read to you.
We now have time for business news in the international world, after which we have sports. Do stay with us. Hello and welcome to the second part of the sports segment with me, Oreku Ampofo. The president of Senegal, Macky Sall, has rewarded each Senegalese player with about $87,100 for winning the just-ended Africa Cup of Nations tournament, which was hosted in Cameroon.
Well, the players would also receive a plot of land in Dakar. But let's move from Senegal and talk about the Black Stars, and Ghana would face off the Eagles of Nigeria in the first leg of their World Cup qualifying playoff on March 24th. Now, the game will be hosted at the Accra Sports, at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, and the CAF recently rejected a request from the Ghana Football Association to move the game to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, but the return leg of the playoff, scheduled for March 27, 3 days after the first, would be played in Abuja, Nigeria. The Black Stars are yet to make an announcement of a new coach following the sacking of Milovan Rajovic. Chris Hughton and Otuado are names likely to fill the vacant role. Well, CAF and FIFA are angry with Ghana over supposed interference in the management of football by government, according to former Communications Director Ibrahim Sani Dara. The continent's football governing body media expert claims attempts by government to engage the services of a coach for the Black Stars has incurred the displeasure of the two institutions.
GFA and the government is all because of this man, Milovan Rajovic. This was after the FA showed much trust in appointing the 68-year-old with extreme confidence he would deliver in his second coming. But the decision went south as they exited the just ended 2021 AFCON tournament with 1 point, the worst campaign in the country's history. Government, the financier of the Black Stars, had to come in and order the FA to part ways with the Serbian trainer and reconstitute the team's management committee, a move which did not sit well with CAF.
This is one. The red line is the government cannot involve in the management of the federation. Even they lose 10-0. It cannot involve saying that we need to change the management, we have to change the coach, we have to... No. This is very dangerous. We don't want to come back in normalization again because this looks like interference. I beg the government, if this was the intention, please stop it.
Coach Milovan is gone and has to be replaced with the World Cup playoffs against Nigeria fast approaching. It is understood the government is pushing for the services of Irish Ghanaian coach Chris Hughton for the job, while the FA also seek Otuado, the current Dortmund scout trainer. CAF and FIFA are closely monitoring the situation and are not ready to take actions for now.
They are not happy about what they are saying, but because Ghana has just come out from normalization, they don't want to come in hard. They want to take things slowly so things can be, solved internally. And thankfully, the Ghana FA has not reported anything to them. They just heard it by media reports. And I hope that, we do things quietly. There are lots of things we can do, not necessarily playing it out in the media.
The GFA, though, remain resolute in landing their target, Otuado, on an interim basis for the World Cup qualifiers. They insist no discussion has transpired between themselves and the government over Chris Hughton.
As far as I am concerned, we haven't met the ministry. I know that we are stakeholders in development, especially the government is recognized in providing infrastructure and providing funds for the development of football, but as technocrats, we are responsible for the decision making. So yes, these are things we read in the media every day. You wake up to stories in the press that government is trying to impose a coach on the FA. I don't remember sitting in any such meeting since our last meeting with the Honorable Minister of Sports, which called for the dismissal of the technical team and also the dismissal of the management committee. That has been our last engagement, as a body. I don't know if certain individuals have been spoken to, but officially, I've had a word with the General Secretary. I've spoken to members of the Executive Council, and collectively, they have all denied knowledge of any such decision by the ministry. So, yes, the ESCO takes responsibility of such decisions. They have the powers of appointment. So they will need to convene a meeting, and if it is that government has a recommendation, we can always, dialogue.
Ghana has less than 6 weeks to put her house in order for the double header against the Super Eagles, a clash that must be won to ensure qualification for the Mundial in Qatar later this year after missing the previous edition in Russia.
That game between Ghana and Nigeria would now be at the Cape Coast Stadium. It's been confirmed. And that's the note on which we wrap up the sports segment here. My name is Orek Wampofo.
Thanks for your company on today's edition of Joy News Prime. We're grateful you could join us. But up next is PM Express, a conversation on the downgrading of Ghana's credit ratings by the ratings agencies, the fish, the kinky and fish analysis. Coming up with Evan Smith. So you want to join us via social media handles on Twitter, Joy News, on TV and on Facebook as well. Please log on to myjoyonline.com. You'll find more news there. I'm Ernest Mino. Stay with us.